Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very important, interesting, and this is huge breaking news. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. In a couple of seconds, you will hear Senator Josh Hawley explain in detail during the Pam Bondi confirmation hearings in the Senate just how despicable and sinister the anti-Christian bias has been and how Democrats have leveled the Federal Bureau of Investigation against, and perhaps other agencies, I think other agencies as well, against Catholic churches, Christians throughout the country. This is an abomination. This is absolutely terrible. I'm not Christian, but it should be. It's not only outrageous, it should be condemned by every American, regardless of background, faith, whether you're an atheist or whether you're a religious person of any faith. You should condemn what Democrats have done, utilizing government agencies to specifically intimidate, imprison, and target the Christian faith in this country. It is a terrible, terrible thing. It's the same Democrats who claim to be diverse and open and accepting are the same people who have utilized government agencies to specifically go after religious organizations in a manner they wouldn't. The same types of organizations that commit far, infinitely greater, if you want to call it egregious or possible criminal activity. Okay, we'll get to all of that in a second. New York Times, Trump signs order to fight anti-Christian bias. The Hill, Trump announces task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias. Reuters, Trump to create a religious office in White House, target anti-Christian bias. MSNBC, Trump's prayer breakfast comment marks the end of American secularism. Really quickly, before you hear Josh Hawley, American secularism has become an anti-religious, anti-faith religion. It's become an atheistic religion. I'm all for anyone who is an atheist or agnostic. The smartest person I know in my life is agnostic. Okay. But you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, when a person says that he or she is an atheist and their religion is social acceptance, a kind of social credit score where you banish and shun any Trump supporter in your life. So if you're an atheist and you have kicked out or disowned friends and family who voted Trump, you're not really an atheist. You are a very religious person, and your religion is MSNBC, CNN, The Washington Post, The New York Times, Atlantic, Rolling Stone, Late Night with Jimmy Kimmel. Your religion is late night comedians. Your religion is this veneer of secularism that is actually the most cult-like, apoplectic, the hyperventilating that secular individuals do, that atheists engage in when talking about President Trump or his policies. It's unbelievable. When you have articles written, and they've been written for 8 years, break up, divorced your husband, break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, don't go to Thanksgiving if somebody voted for Trump. This is a huge problem, ladies and gentlemen, and it talks about a lack of character, a lack of critical thinking skills. You don't have to believe in a religion. Religious people aren't telling you to believe in their religion, generally. I mean, in the 80s, there were televangelists, and then you had the Bush Republicans. But you know what? The new televangelists are the allegedly secular pundits who worship the Democratic Party to such an extreme that Democrats can actually cheat Bernie Sanders and remove Joe Biden and then replace him with his vice president, and they won't miss a beat. They won't even question it. Not to mention sending Americans to never-ending military conflict and accusing Trump of being a Kremlin operative, creating a new McCarthy-era Red Scare just because of intelligence reports that were high to moderate confidence assessments and a Steele dossier literally purchased by Clinton and the DNC so much. It was so egregious that they received an FEC fine for it. But anyway, and then they accused Trump of fomenting a rebellion. They tried to ban him. The Colorado State Supreme Court tried to ban him throughout the country. These are the same people. And of course, the Supreme Court routinely ruled in favor of Trump because Democrats were so intent on breaking constitutional precedent, breaking the Constitution, that the Supreme Court routinely ruled against them. But anyway, let's just continue. This is Josh Hawley. Hit subscribe to this channel. This is absolutely huge, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, welcome. Congratulations on your nomination. I'm so glad that you've been nominated, as we discussed when we had the chance to meet.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to work with you as the State Attorney General for a number of years, and I'm delighted to see you here today before the committee. I look forward to your confirmation. You will be confirmed. I, too, have taken note of the number of times you have been asked about weaponization of the Department of Justice as if it was a theoretical possibility that might happen in the future. One of my colleagues on the other side said, weaponization may well occur under your tenure. We all know that weaponization has occurred like we've never seen before in American history under this administration. And I want to get even more specific. In the last 4 years, this administration has carried out an unprecedented attack and campaign against people of faith. If you look at the numbers, we've never seen anything like it before in American history. It has been one of the most disgraceful chapters in the history of the Justice Department and in the history of the FBI. And I hope that you will reverse this and do right by every American citizen, including especially people of faith. Let me give you some specifics. After the Dobbs case was decided by the Supreme Court, over 100 pregnancy care centers and over 300 churches in this country were attacked, vandalized, firebombed. Do you happen to know off the top of your head how many prosecutions Merrick Garland's Justice Department brought in those cases?
I do not, Senator.
It's a stunning number. It's 2. Hundreds of churches, hundreds of pregnancy care centers. And I might just add, these pregnancy care centers, the attacks on them, which were violent, which were gruesome, were egged on and encouraged by rhetoric from members of Congress, including members of this body, who have said that pregnancy care centers aren't real medicine, that they're not real doctors. They have legitimized these attacks. And the same thing was true of churches. And this Justice Department couldn't lift a finger to defend these Americans. But at the same time, they use legislation, a law known as the FACE Act, to prosecute at least 53 different pro-life demonstrators, including people like Mark Houck from Pennsylvania, to whom this Justice Department sent a SWAT team to his door in the early morning hours. He has, I think, 7 children. In the early morning hours, an FBI SWAT team shows up at his door to take him into custody and prosecute him. By the way, he was acquitted. This kind of outrageous, disparate treatment has to end. So here's my question to you. Will you protect churches and pregnancy care centers when they are targeted for violence, when they are targeted for intimidation, when their members or parishioners are threatened with violence or other acts of illegal behavior?
Yes, Senator.
Will you stop the disparate treatment of Americans on the basis of religious faith?
Yes, Senator.
Will you stop the deliberate persecution of pro-life Americans for nothing more than their pro-life beliefs?
Yes, Senator.
Will you?
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is just one example. When you have hundreds of churches or religious organizations being vandalized, intimidated, and criminal activity leveled their way, not one tear, not one statement of condemnation from Liz Cheney or any of the people on the January committee or any Democrat. Why is that? Why is that Democrats look the other way when there's billions upon billions in property damage in Trump's last year in office and focus on one day. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Watch the channel in a couple of hours. We'll be back with another video.